Hello, good afternoon if you are on the East Coast in the US. Good evening if you are in West Africa. Also, good evening if you're in Europe. Um, and then if you're in the Pacific somewhere on the West Coast, I think it's maybe good morning. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me and Joba Max and everyone who has signed up. There's over 100 of you that signed up for today's webinar, the African Diaspora Ghana Home Buyer webinar. That's broadcasting live from these United States. I am in Montgomery Village in Moco, Montgomery County in Maryland in the DMV. I like to think that Moco is the best part of the DMV. So shout out to anybody else who's tuning in from Montgomery County. If you are just logging on and tuning in while we're waiting for everybody else to sign on, I want to invite you to drop your location, preferably your city, or your states, whichever you prefer, so we know where you're logging in from. And yeah, just you can drop the flag. You know, some of the emojis allow you to drop the flag. I'm not gonna try to guess. I'm not going to try to guess the flag so I don't embarrass myself in case I see one that I'm not familiar with. But hi, Festus. Thank you. And hi, Aisha. Thank you so much for joining us. Aisha, I saw that you mentioned earlier you were congratulating all the new Ghanaian citizens. That's right. I believe over 500, I believe it's over 500 African Americans got their Ghanaian citizenship this past week in Accra, and President Akufo-Addo. They do these ceremonies annually and sometimes multiple times during the year, where African Americans basically naturalize, and they host this really, really amazing ceremonies. So yeah, congratulations to everybody who's newly Ghanaian. Hi, Andre from Los Angeles, and everybody else. Like, we're really excited to have you here. This webinar is usually about an hour 25, an hour 20. We always try to make sure we let you go in time because we know it's a weekend and everybody has things to do. So we will get started. Now, if you are joining us on this African Diaspora Ghana Home Buyer webinar today, it's because you have a dream. And that dream is that one day you can wake up on a sunny March day or a Hamatan December day in your very own home in Accra, in Ghana, in West Africa. And you're here because you want to make sure that as you take that journey to realizing that dream, that you avoid some of the pitfalls that many of the people that we know or love, a lot of the stories we've heard, aren't always the best, right? So today, my job is to help you understand what it's like to take that journey to homeownership, and also, along with Joba Max, provide you with information and resources to help you understand how you can not just build your home in Ghana, but also have that home financed. This is especially interesting because for a lot of people who live in the diaspora, like myself, you know that if you're here, most times, most people know that, like, yes, you can go get a mortgage, right? But if you're here and you're thinking of building a home back on the continent, my family is originally from Sierra Leone, and we also have Nigerian ancestry. But if I woke up today and I said I wanted to build a home like my father did or like my grandparents did in Sierra Leone, I would need to, for the most part, raise all the capital and finance it myself, or maybe approach a commercial bank in Sierra Leone to help me get the funds to finance my home. the interest rate will probably kill me. And that's why most people don't go that route. They just save and save and save until they have enough. Now, I've been living in Ghana since 2012. And the reason why I was able to do that is because my mother bought a house up in a planned estate. Well, the house wasn't built yet. It was like land, and they told her what the plan was. And she basically invested in this property. And once it was complete, we were able to move into the house. And that's the house that she's now retired and moved back to Sierra Leone. But that's my home in Accra. And so I understand and I share your dream and your vision. And I know what it's like to leave the US and arrive in Accra and go to my house. And I want that kind of joy and peace of mind for everybody who's dreaming of it. Today, I'm going to be talking to a lot of experts from JobaMax and also just a real estate and finance expert to help you understand, especially for those of us who are here in the US, how you can start this journey. Sorry, I'm seeing some things on here that I don't want to see. Okay. So first of all, yes, we are going to meet Robert Hornsby, who's one of the co-founders of JobaMax. We're going to talk to Keith Williams, who is a real estate development and finance professional. And then Tinashe and Anna are going to talk to us specifically about JobaMax's offerings within Apollonia City in Accra, and also financing your home in Ghana. Again, if you're just joining us and this is the first time you're seeing my face on your screen, Akwaba, welcome. Okabo, if you're from Sierra Leone. So I'm a marketing comms and digital specialist, and I help companies like JobaMax develop and implement strategies to connect with West African audiences at home in the diaspora. Again, I've been a resident of Accra, Ghana since 2012. Some of you might know some of me from children's books or my TV show or my podcast. I'm a very prolific person on the internet. So if you just Google me, you'll see I'm there. I'm everywhere. Okay, so now I'd like to welcome Rob, who is going to take us through the JobaMax story. Over to you, Rob.
Great. Thank you so much, Vickie. And thanks everybody for making time on a Saturday afternoon or evening to spend time with us. I am one of the co-founders of JobaMax. We actually started as a company back in 2005. So we've been around quite a long time. And it was me and Jonathan Halloran and Mamadi Doumbouya. Jonathan and I had met as Peace Corps volunteers 30 years ago. And Mamadi I met here in Philadelphia as we were looking at ways to fund projects in West Africa. But we did import-export work for a few years, and then in 2014 moved into housing because we saw a big issue there that many of you are familiar with, which is that people in the diaspora who want to have a home back home can struggle to find people that they can trust with their money and with the process to build. So we started serving the diaspora market in Guinea in 2014 and subsequently expanded to Sierra Leone and have just gotten started in Ghana. And a couple of things that are really important to us is using local labor and building up local teams. So we run both our Guinea and Sierra Leone projects out of our Conakry office, which is staffed 100% with local Guinean managers, and then we use local subcontractors. We've built over 100 homes since we got started, in that range has been from 19,000 to over 200,000. Our average in Guinea and Sierra Leone is around $100,000. Ghana market is a little different. Our price point in Ghana, which Tinashe and Anna will be talking about later, starts at 159. But what we try to bring to you as home buyers is the best possible combination of customer service and payment platform and and project management that we can deliver with sort of world-class talent on the global side of the business, and then marry that to the best possible local contractors that can build quality for you and deliver value for you. And one of the exciting things about getting started in Ghana is that it's a different market in a lot of ways from Guinea and Sierra Leone. In Guinea and Sierra Leone, we've put in all the infrastructure that's been needed for our sites. And in Ghana, we're buying into a master plan development where the infrastructure is all already there, and we're essentially buying a serviced plot that we can put a home up on. And the depth of the market for high quality contractors in Ghana is also significant. It is simply a market that has more infrastructure across the board, including sort of the contractor infrastructure. And so we're excited about bringing, using the best talent on the ground in Ghana that's already been building quality homes for years and years, and matching that to our system of making this whole home acquisition process easy for folks in the diaspora, from a payment standpoint, from a financing standpoint, from a contracting protection standpoint. We give you a U.S. contract that gives you more protections than you would typically get buying this locally. So I don't want to say too much more because we've got so many good people with many good things to say after me, but we're excited to be in Ghana. We like where we are in Apollonia City because it has so many amenities for the broader community. We are permitted and ready to break ground, and hope that we can be building for somebody on this call soon. Our payment terms include a 30% deposit to start construction, financing for up to 10 years, and more in some cases, but you'll hear more about financing options as we get into the presentation. I think, Vickie, I should probably stop there. You're on mute.
I do this every single time. So just quickly before I let you go, for people who aren't very familiar with the real estate and market in Ghana, some people know of like housing developments that are already, built, and that's what they may be used to. Tell me how the Jobomax model is a little bit different.
Yeah, so this is, and I'll confess, this has been a little bit of a challenge in Ghana. We are a production home builder, and we sell off plan, which means that we have in Guinea we have about 7 different floor plans. In Sierra Leone we have 4 different floor plans. In Ghana we're really offering just 1 floor plan to start with. And the way it works with us, you choose the home you want, you put down a 30% deposit, you sign a contract, we start building. And we've learned, so my partner Jonathan likes to say we build homes, but we sell trust, because it does take a certain amount of trust to put that money down when the house isn't already built. We've learned in the Ghana market, one of the downsides of that market being so much more developed than in Guinea or Sierra Leone is that many more developers have put a product out into the market in the past where they told people they were going to build off plan, and for a variety of reasons that didn't happen. And it's typically most developers fail because they get out ahead of themselves and they run out of cash, and they end up with more obligations than they can cover with cash, even if they have a good business model. Otherwise, if you can't manage your cash, you just can't deliver for people. And so on the buyer end of the market in Ghana, I think there's more resistance to buying off plan than we've seen in Guinea and Sierra Leone. And that's really sort of our hill to climb. We need to tell the story to this market in a way that people understand why they can trust us to do what we say we're going to do. It is possible to capitalize a business in such a way that you can build out a whole area and then sell things after you've built them. However, somebody pays for that, right?
Right.
Because if you're the builder and you're borrowing money to put up homes, and then you're paying the cost of that money while you're waiting to sell those homes, it's always the buyer who pays, right? So you're gonna pay that money one way or another. We really aim to deliver the highest value possible for the dollar, and that's partly about the materials we choose. It's partly about the contractors we choose, but it's also partly about the financing and payment platform that we use, because we don't want people's payments being eaten up by fees and bad interest, bad exchange rates, when that money should just be going into their house. So, the way we finance our buyers and the way we do, the way we build off plan, we're minimizing the construction financing cost that gets built into the price one way or another if you're waiting till the house gets built before you buy it.
Sure. And anecdotally, I mean, as someone who's lived in Accra for the past decade, I live in a community called East Legon Hills, which in 2010 there was nothing there. There was just nothing there. And now there's no land at all. Like, it's been overdeveloped. But what we also find is there are lots of estates that are developed, and the houses, I don't want to say they just sit there and rot, but they're empty. Like, they're just buildings and buildings and buildings, right? And they're just sitting there unoccupied. And one of the, even for us, like when we bought our house, one of the challenges that we had, because it was a house that, like, in this estate, is that, they had cut a lot of corners in the actual construction, right? Because they were building before they sold, right? So they cut a lot of corners, and we finally got the property. There was a lot of rewiring, electricals we had to do. We had there's just a lot of work that we had to do. And I think a big part of that was they had to do this proof of concept, and they were building these houses and then selling them.
Yes.
And they had to make their money some way, I guess.
See, you're either charging more or you're cutting corners. And because it's like if people in West Africa would buy stick frame homes that like people build here with dimensional lumber and sheetrock and all that kind of stuff, you could make homes really cheap. But what people want in this market is reinforced concrete and tile, and they want an expensive product. And if somebody's giving you, if they tell you they're giving you that product at a price that's too good to believe, it's because it's too good to believe.
Right.
But
no, I just wanted to touch
to your point though, Vickie. Even if people build well, and you leave a home unoccupied through multiple rainy seasons, it's not going to work out. Homes are built to be lived in. And so, if the best thing you can do is get a home that was built for you, and then find a way to maintain that home so that it doesn't do what homes do when they can't breathe because nobody's coming in and out, and the humidity's fluctuating and the heat's fluctuating and all that kind of stuff. So
no,
I'm getting ahead of myself.
No. Listen, as you're talking about the rain season, I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
It's the reality. Thank you so much. I mean, stick around. Don't go anywhere. As Rob was saying, that having the opportunity to have a house that's built for you is key, right? At the end of the day, one of the things that JoboMax offers is you will get daily updates of your house. At the end, as your house is being constructed, at the end of this, I will play a video for you of one of their customers who lives here in Atlanta, talking about his experience of getting a JoboMax home. And I already see some people asking questions in the comments. Yes, absolutely do ask those questions. Okay. Absolutely do ask those questions. And we will answer them at the end. Apologies to Keith. I must have not had any coffee when I did this slide, because I misspelled his name. It is Keith, not Kieth. So next up, I'd like to welcome me fellow salon brother, because Keith is actually a DNA Sierra Leonean. Yeah, so I can welcome me salon brother. Keith is a real estate and finance expert. Let me make sure I can read that, because yes, he's a transformative real estate development and finance leader. His expertise includes public finance, commercial banking, and real estate lending. He has played a pivotal role in expanding property development interest internationally, particularly in Accra, Ghana, and domestically in Philadelphia and Wilmington, Delaware. His focus is on sustainable and affordable community development, and has led to successful projects that enhance living standards and stabilize communities. Misalo broda. Howdy, buddy.
Good to see you, Vickie. Good to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Okay. Keith, I mean, I think before we even get into this conversation, I feel like the first thing that people probably always want to know about you is you're originally from Pennsylvania, right? Like,
yes. Yeah. And my family goes back to North Carolina on both sides, hundreds of years. So, yeah.
So, I mean, like when I first met you, my first curiosity was like, how did you end up in Sierra Leone? How did you end up in Ghana? Like, how did this happen? What's your story?
Yeah, I mean, well, it initially started out in Ghana. Took a trip back in January 2019 just to learn more about Ghana, learn more about the culture. And then, I was there for 2 weeks. Really was thrown aback by all of the unique just real estate development that was happening just near the airport, all the condo structures going up, all of the development in place like East Legon Hills, East Legon, Ayaminsa. And I was really intrigued by just the development in real estate. And for me, my background is largely in finance, commercial finance, where I spent over a decade underwriting facilities, anywhere from a couple $100,000 to tens of millions, middle market level. And I also run a company named the Greenwich Hazelton Group, and we do development in Wilmington and Philadelphia. We'll be working on a 20-unit ground-up construction development in Philly very soon here. But I was really interested just in working in that realm and taking the work we're doing domestically and shifting it over internationally. And that's how I ended up in Ghana. And Sierra Leone was initially I was looking to get citizenship in Ghana, but as you know, that process isn't as straightforward as Sierra Leone. And then I learned about the process in Sierra Leone, where if you had the DNA from one of the 12 tribes in in Sierra Leone, it puts you in contention to get citizenship. So I went and got citizenship. What was that? November 2022. And literally a month later, in December 2022, I also got citizenship in Ghana. So I hold 2 passports in West Africa.
I didn't even know that. You are ECOWASing out, like at this point. I mean, okay. Congratulations, Ghanaian, Sierra Leonean American citizen.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you go back and forth between the US and Sierra Leone and Ghana. So if anyone has insights about, some of like the similarities or stark differences, it's you. So what makes Accra specifically such a promising place for real estate investment right now?
Pound for pound is highly developed compared to the rest of the countries in West Africa. A lot of real estate development going on, a lot of strong companies doing structures out there, companies like Clifton Homes and other key developers in Ghana. So that makes it a really strong market with strong demand. A lot of the Black Americans are interested in going to Africa, and the place they usually go to first is Ghana. So for me, I thought, to look into that market, me being a person that bought my first place in Ghana in 2021 in a place called Ayaminsa Park. So I bought a place there in 2021. Cash. It was a frustrating process because I tried to get a loan through a bank there, but it's not as easy as getting financing in the States. when it comes to the underwriting process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What would you say is the current state of homeownership in Accra? How has it evolved in the last 5 or 10 years?
I can't really speak to the last 5 or 10 years, but I can speak, based on my experience of what I've witnessed since going back and forth in 2019. I mean, there has been a plethora of, high-end real estate developments that have been built all across the city. A lot of condo buildings going up around the airport, in Osu and different parts of town. That's good, but obviously that doesn't service the majority of people that live in Ghana. They can never dream of affording these places. And I think I'm kind of shifting the question over a little bit, but I
Mm-hmm.
think us as developers, myself included, need to figure out a way to focus on more affordable
Right.
products. But that's going to take help from the government. That's going to take different initiatives from many people to get something like that done.
Right. No, I don't think we can talk about housing in Accra specifically and not talk about the lack of affordable housing. It is very jarring that communities are disappearing basically, and high rises are going up in a lot of places, especially in Osu, for example, which is like this historic district, and a lot of people and communities that have been integral to to Osu and Osu's history are being pushed out, right? And the average Ghanaians don't have access to affordable housing, and more people are being pushed out, like way from central Accra and having to go out. That's why the city's kind of like sprawled out so far now, because in the heart of things, you just you can't find anything. No, it's real. So I mean, you touched on it already in the start, where you're talking about the challenges that you faced when you were trying to purchase a house in your home, or finance a home in Accra. What are some of the other challenges or roadblocks for people who are maybe, like in your case, who are not Ghanaians? I know that the Ghanaian Americans and Ghanaians on this call, but specifically for those who are in the diaspora, maybe a Sierra Leonean who wants to own property in Ghana, maybe an African American who wants to own property in Ghana. What are some of the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, two things come to mind. The first one is just the lack of affordable financing, and a lot of that has to do with just monetary policy in the country. But I mean, you're looking at interest rates of 15% plus. You're looking at amortization rates that are very short. And overall, I mean, you're looking at a mortgage penetration rate that is really non-existent, right? At less than 1% in most markets.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have is a situation where either people have to bring all the cash, or they have to go through some kind of short-term financing arrangement of put 70% down or more, finance the rest over a year. And I mean, that's impossible for I would say 99% of Americans to do something like that. And I think that's where my partner company, Max, kind of offers a really good product, where they provide a financing product where you can get a 70% LTV loan, provide a 30% down payment, finance those costs over 10 years, at a rate that undercuts the rates that you would get in the local market, and that's one of their selling points. Also, I think the second biggest issue that I see is just the litigation issues that people face on the continent. One of the first things I did in 2019 when I came to the country and I was thinking about investing, and I had all this eagerness and excitement about the prices, is I thought about purchasing land.
Okay.
But me with a background in underwriting and credit analysis, I pretty much read everything I can get my hands on, and I read the country's financial report. And in that report, they said that Ghana is experiencing over 30,000 active land litigation disputes. So that is something you want to be very careful with. And that's what kind of pushed me to buying the place I bought from. It was a very reputable construction management company, a construction company, Black Ivy, that did the work there. And that's one of the reasons that Bax and Greenwich Hazelton Group, we decided to choose Apollonia City is our place to build the development, and I'll get into some of the reasons.
Okay. I mean, and I'm asking, I mean, as someone who lives there, I know the answer to this, but I think sometimes people who are not from Ghana worry about being welcomed in Ghana. I mentioned this specifically because in recent times, I feel like there was like a New York Times article or something about like a chief who had taken land, like lots of community land, like locally owned communal land, and leased it to like, you know, people who are coming in from the US to build like houses. And it had caused a lot of friction between, of course, the local community and, you know, new immigrants, right? Like from the diaspora. How does this model, the Jobo Max is set up, avoid those kinds of issues? And also in general, as an African American in Ghana, do you feel like Ghanaians are welcoming of this influx of, you know, the year of the return energy? Like, are Ghanaians open and welcoming to this?
They are. I mean, when I went in 2019, mind you, I didn't even know about the year return. That was just a random trip, and I picked a date and a time to go. And it happened to be during the year of return. But you know, just from my experience, Ghanaians are very welcoming. I found myself in the homes of random strangers that I had met like within weeks of being there, like having dinner with people and stuff like that. So they are very hospitable, gracious people, beautiful people. As far as our approach to picking a spot to develop this development, I mean, we heard about some of the offers that local chiefs were given, and we didn't want to come in and have like an advantage over locals that, you know, they couldn't get themselves. So that's why we chose, you know, Apollonia cities are the place to build. You know, not only is this you know, a company that is owned by the parent company Rendever, who is well known in the market. This company, you know, buys hectares of land all over the continent: South Africa, Kenya, and a place called Tattoo City, Nigeria. I think it's called Lekki is where they have some land, and obviously Apollonia City. And for us, it enables us to kind of have a community, you know, have all those utilities and things that kind of add to the construction cost already there, and offer a very competitive product.
Awesome. So what for first-time home buyers, people who are just starting this journey now and they really going in blind, like, right? What is your, I don't know, like top two nuggets, like pieces of advice that you give people who are thinking of starting this homeowner journey, dream home, African home journey in Ghana?
I would say it really comes back to trust. And Bob touched on this, but you want to work with companies that you can trust, you can call on, and that you're not in the dark with. And for me personally, you know, when I bought my first place in IMNSA Park, I knew Black Ivy had an office in DC, you know, office that I can pick up the phone and call, you know, people that I can engage with, send payments to directly. And that just brought a level of comfort. But for us, I mean, in addition to that, I mean, we are utilizing US contracts. So people are further protected. It's not like you have to call somebody in Ghana to figure out what's going on, or to do whatever you need to do in the event something was going wrong. But back to your question, you want to find a developer you can trust, a developer that has a strong track record in the market. Those are the main things.
Okay, awesome. Tell me, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, but I think that I think people need to know, people probably still wondering how the relation, like the structure, the nature of the relationship between Jobo Max as like a private entity and Apollonia City. Could you like break that down for us?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much Jobo Max bought land in Apollonia City. So it's essentially a master plan community, subdivided. So you have different developments within Apollonia City owned by private developers. As far as the relationship between the Greenwich Hazleton Group and Jobo Max, I mean, we are an equity partner in that project. And yeah, that's where we are.
Okay, cool. And if someone, when let's say I buy a house today into, one of Jobomax plots and Jobomax builds for me, does Jobomax then pass on the title of my own plot to me outside of like the bigger Apollonia chunk?
Exactly, they do. Yeah, title is passed directly.
Okay, awesome. And foreigners can own, etc. Because I know this is like one of the concerns that people usually have.
Yeah, foreigners can own as well. I mean, there's different lease terms with foreigners versus citizens, but foreigners can own as well.
All right. Okay, so what are you most excited about, or what is like the future outlook for homeownership in Ghana, the real estate market? Are you cautious? Are you optimistic? Elections are happening, this month. Sometimes when people think of elections, they think of West Africa. They automatically, they're cautious, and of course, it makes them hesitant. How do you feel about, the next couple of years for real estate in Ghana?
I mean, for us as a company and with our partnership with Jobomax, I mean, we are optimistic in the sense that we are going to continue to deliver neighborhoods year after year. Once we get this one up, we think there's a strong market when it comes to the diaspora, when it comes to the Black American market, of people coming in and wanting to purchase homes from a company they can trust. I think overall, I'm still optimistic about real estate in Ghana as a whole. I think you see property values rising.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see, and I touched on this earlier, is that there needs to be a stronger, finance mechanism that can help people get mortgages. And I think if that was there, you would see more homes being sold. I'd like the prices of real estate to come down a little bit. I mean, I know that's not something that you want to hear from a developer, but as a human, I would love for prices to come down, because just the locals, a lot of these products, majority of these products, they can't afford, and that's going to require a different solution. And we'll have to collectively figure out what that looks like.
Sure. Thank you so much, Keith. Again, don't go anywhere, just in case we have any questions at the end. People want to ask you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Again, if you're just joining the call, you're late, and you have any questions whatsoever, please, you can ask them now, or you can ask them at the end, but there will be a Q&A section at the end where you'll have all of your questions answered. Next, I'd like to welcome customer care rep from Jobomax, Tinashe Manyika, who is over here. Tinashe, where are you joining us from today? Sorry, you're muted. Sorry, still can't hear you. You're still muted. There you go.
Okay. Hello, I'm joining you from Zimbabwe.
Awesome. Good to see you. Oh, we lost you there. Okay. Okay. All right. Tinashe is going to talk us through Apollonia City and specifically about the design, the model that Jobomax has to offer here.
Okay. Thank you, Vickie, for this opportunity. Okay, so I'd like to talk about Apollonia City, the place where we have our land and where we are building. So Apollonia City is it's a development that's owned by Rendezvous, the largest city builder in Africa, with projects in Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it's one of the largest urban developments in West Africa. And it offers high standard infrastructure, offering homes, offices, schools, healthcare, and warehousing. And Apollonia City will house over 100,000 residents and visitors upon completion. So we're looking at a really big city that's going to be self-sufficient with its own amenities. And it's located within Greater Accra. We're looking at east of Accra, about 29 kilometers away from the Accra Business Hub. It's located between Oyibi and Afienya, and it's 40 minutes away from Tema and the Kotoka International Airport, 15 minutes away from Adenta, a couple of minutes away from Valley View University, and that's really where we're located. And then what you can enjoy with Apollonia City, you're enjoying new roads accompanied by well-built drainage systems. There's a new power station, there's a really good water supply, and you're enjoying a clean land title. And then in collaboration with us, Jobomax, you can enjoy a really good newly built home in an area with a lot of amenities. We're gonna have a video that's gonna play where we're gonna show you like the house and what it comes with and what it looks like on the inside and the outside.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm trying to pull it up and it's giving me beautiful technical difficulties. So let me see. I might have to take you off, take myself. Oh, yeah, that's how you do it. And then I'll bring you back.
Yes, so this is our lovely home.
Feel free to talk through this, Tinashe, to just talk about what people are looking at and what the offerings are.
All right, that's fine. So this is a modern duplex home. We call it our Philadelphia duplex. It comes with 3 to 4 bedrooms. There's an option of having an outdoor porch, as you can see. There's an outdoor kitchen that you can have as an option. And then you have your dining, your kitchen, as well as, your master bedroom. It's got 2.5 bathrooms, one in the master bedroom, and then there's one that's shared with the other rooms. And then you have a bathroom downstairs that's used by guests, or, in the event that you use the extra space as a room, it's used by the guest who will be in the room. And there you have your living room and your dining room space, and then there's your entrance over there. So yeah, this home, it comes with different iterations. You can have 3 or 4 bedrooms. In our luxe version, we offer a security system, an outdoor kitchen and porch, and also with kitchen appliances like your washing machine, your stove, your oven, your microwave. Look at this beautiful kitchen. So yeah, this is what we have on offer at Apollonia City. This is our beautiful Philadelphia modern duplex home. And there you have it. So our Philadelphia duplex, the prices range from $159,000 to about $175,000. That's the maximum amount. And that's the difference between the standard and the luxe. There's like 4 versions of this home, where you have the 3-bedroom standard, and then the 4-bedroom standard, and then you have your 3-bedroom luxe version, and then you have your 4-bedroom luxe version, which come with 2.5 bath, a back porch option, 2 stories, and a parking spot in a lovely gated community that's going to have a lot of amenities, including swimming pools. I know people love those. So those will definitely be available to those that will have homes in our gated community in Apollonia City. I think that's all for me today. Thank you so much, Vickie, for this opportunity. Please, you can always contact us. Our contact details definitely be shared during the webinar. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tinashe. Next up, I would like to welcome Anna Strait. She's the Director of Operations for Ghana and Sierra Leone. And Anna is like, I don't know, the encyclopedia of like West African home financing. Like you point to a country, she's got you. She knows about the conditions on the ground, what the banks offer. This woman, no, like, yeah, she schooled me today because, you know, I was like, oh, you didn't talk about Ghana Home Loans. And she's like, Ghana Home Loans is now FNB. I was like, wow, okay, Anna, you got me. Hey, Anna, welcome to the webinar. How are you doing?
Hello, hi.
Oh, you really schooled me today. I was really shocked because I didn't know that. I've been seeing FNB, but I definitely did make that connection between FNB and Ghana Home Loans. So thank you for that education.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
okay. Yeah, so we can jump right into kind of what the options are for funding your home in Ghana. I'm assuming most of you have already started to think about what's possible and how it's going to happen for you. So we kind of talked about, a lot of people try to go the cash route, where, you know, they pay everything up front, and that way they don't have to pay any interest. There's no fees, like no financing application fees. We have some extra, you know, requirements, like insurance and things like that during your financing term. So you definitely save money on interest. There's a question of if you actually save money in the long run, because what are you doing before you have all of those funds to spend at once? Are you spending extra money on hotels or other costs associated with trying to save that money up? The other advantage with that, especially if you buy it from us, is that you can own the property outright right away. So if you pay cash up front, whether, again, you're buying from us or anybody else in Ghana, then we can transfer the land title to you right away, and there's really low risk, right? Like the disadvantage, of course, you have to wait until you have all of that money to enjoy your investment. And sometimes that might mean that you have a smaller budget so that you can get started sooner. The other option that's similar to cash, but, you know, paying as you go. So you have $20,000, you get the foundation done. You wait another year and you send another $10,000. I hear this is probably the most common construction funding method that I hear across West Africa. Unfortunately, it's really susceptible to theft and damage. I mean, your house is left exposed. There's materials that get stolen during this really, really long process. As Bob mentioned earlier, houses are meant to be lived in. If it takes 10 years to build a house, then there's a lot of extra damage that gets done to it, especially when, you know, you're doing all this work without a roof on the house. So it's the most common. It might seem like you're saving money on interest, but there's a lot of extra costs that come from that, unfortunately. I would say the advantage to having all the cash up front is yes, you save money on interest and you can get the house built beginning to end right away. And it's not really delaying the construction progress, hopefully, if all the funds are available by the time you start the project. So then you guys might be familiar with Ghana Home Loans. I don't know how the process was, but they're now First National Bank. This is really common. Probably the best option for people in Ghana, whether they're buying a finished house, constructing on their own land. There are a lot of requirements, I would say. So their offerings differ between if you're buying a finished house versus an off-plan house, like what we're offering right now. And they also change if you're have Ghanaian citizenship or you're a foreigner. So I think if you're a foreigner, they might not require more than like, they think they require a 50% down payment and you have to be buying a finished house. So I would definitely recommend First National Bank if you are Ghanaian, whether living in the country currently or outside. We can refer you to somebody to speak with who is familiar with our project, and we are pre-approved by First National Bank. So you can definitely go with them. They have a longer term, so they go up to 20 years. The interest rate is 13. You'll see what we offer in a minute. We typically only offer terms for 10 years. So what you're going to find with this one, we also require a 30% down payment. So with FNB, you're going to find that it requires a lower investment to start, and the monthly payments are going to be lower throughout. The interest rate's a little bit higher, so depending on how long it takes you to pay off the house, you might end up paying more interest than with our offering. But I would definitely say that this is definitely a pretty flexible option because of the lower down payment and the longer term. There is an age limit of 60. So if you're 50 right now, you can only actually take it for 10 years. If you're 40 or under, you can take it for the full 20. I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but that's the current requirements. So if you do not fit into those requirements, like you are maybe 55 already, you do not have Ghanaian citizenship, then we still have an option for you. It's done in-house. So as I mentioned, we do require a 30% down payment. I think that's around $48,700 for our base model that we're offering. And then the financing terms are up to 10 years. So the financing will start once construction starts. This is the same schedule as with FNB, I should note. And then our financing is 12 to 13%, depending on your application and how that looks. So I would say that overall cost, comparing FNB to Jobo Max, we are going to be less expensive total cost as far as the interest that you pay. But we are going to have a higher down payment comparatively and a higher monthly payment. So it really, if you are Ghanaian and you have the choice between the two, you kind of just can do the calculations. I'm happy to help you with that to tell you what those numbers look like. And you can kind of figure out what the best option for you is. Our application process can be pretty quick. Compared to FNB, I think they take a couple months. They do a really thorough study of the project, location, the land. They do all of their checks to make sure it's good to go. Once you submit everything, we can actually get you a decision in as little as 2 weeks. I would say that it typically takes 4 to 6 weeks. And sometimes it probably takes 1 to 2 weeks for customers to collect all of their documents and get it ready to submit. There's a short questionnaire as well, but again, we're happy to help you with that. So our requirements, again, I'm going to compare us to FNB a little bit just so you can understand the ins and outs of both of these offers. We're looking for 3 months of bank statements. We're looking to see your income on those bank statements. If your income's not on those bank statements, then you should provide other documentation to show us that. FNB will ask for 3 months of bank statements, 3 months of pay stubs, credit reports. And so sometimes they can ask for a little bit more documentation, but I think we're ultimately all looking at the same thing. We want to see if your cash flow is positive enough to afford these monthly payments. And we are only, I should note, we are only offering our financing if you buy one of our models in Apollonia City. So we cannot offer financing on like a project on your land. I think there's some more details. Yeah. So payments we make them pretty easily, or we make them pretty easy for you. So we accept free domestic transfers within the US, and we typically use Wise to accept international payments. And we have customers across Europe, in West Africa, in Australia, Canada, and the US. So we're used to accepting payments across the world, and we try to make it as inexpensive as possible. Once your construction is completed, we do offer the opportunity to complete an inspection. This is kind of your chance to ask for corrections before you take full responsibility of the house, take the keys, and move in. You are happy to, you're welcome to rent it out as well. Apollonia City, I think, offers a really convenient place to rent, especially to families, because of their extra amenities that they offer, like, Wi-Fi and electricity and water is all connected to the house. There's pools, there's shops, there's business centers. So I think it can be really attractive to renters. Your construction starts once your down payment is complete. And then you're continuing to make payments during construction and once you've started moving into the house. We do hold on to the land title until you've completed all your payments. Some opportunity or some benefits that I have already mentioned is that you can really save money on hotels if you're traveling to Ghana regularly, versus if you're saving up everything before you get started. And yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about our financing.
Yep, sorry. Thanks, Anna. Again, if you are watching and you have any questions about financing at all, please stay tuned because we're just about to jump into that section. But before we do, I have to play you my favorite video, customer testimonial video of all time. I'm not just saying this because it was produced by yours truly and my team in Sierra Leone. Just watch, and after this, your life will be forever changed, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, presenting Mr. Khalil.
Jumbo Max is a great company. They built this place 10 months exactly. They gave me the keys. They even late for 1 week, they pay. My name is Khalil S. Kabo. I was born in Sierra Leone, and I'm a Sierra Leonean, in a small village called Matoer, and I've been out of this country for 45 years. I just started coming here 2 years ago. In America, I'm a trained trainer. I train nurses. I help elderlies. I have a medical training center, and I have a home care. I take care of human beings. So one day I came from work. My friend came to visit here in Sierra Leone, Freetown. He called me, he said, I found a company that want to build houses in Sierra Leone, especially Waterloo. Why don't you go and look at it? I said, no, I don't want to do nothing like that in Sierra Leone. After I found out that Jumbo Max are building houses, he said, oh yeah, they have a properties in Guinea. I said, give me the picture, how they do it. So he gave me one person who has a house there that lives in Atlanta, Georgia. I talked to the person. He said, if you don't decide to live, the houses are not that big like you people here. Like my house in Atlanta now. He said, but they're satisfactory. He said, do it. Then they show me another Gambian guy. Then they show me another guy from Ghana. That's how I built up the trust. Because I didn't want to do nothing here concerning a house. No, because I left here too long. 45 years. Whom I'm going to take to court here. Because that's the procedure if you don't want to do it. So that's how I found out. I made up my mind. My people, they don't give you what you need and on time. My experience, I came first. I built a complete compound to my village. What I learned there, I have to buy stones, I have to buy sand, I have to beat blocks, I have to do everything. Jumbo Max, you don't have to. You pay the money, they give you the time to get your property. So no problem here. There I was having a problem if you want me to compare. Okay? I came back, I opened a company. That company, I have a lot of problems. But with Jumbo Max, no problem at all. When they put the foundation, every day when I go to my office in America, I go into the computer. If they put the beam, they tell you, today we put the beam. If they put the windows, they tell you, the day they finish, I know. When they left to paint the inside, but the time reached for me to come, I knew where they start, where they stop. Every blessed day, I just go one button, Jumbo Max, where are we? The computer, they tell me where they start, where are they doing today. I even see the people when they're working. So, no problem there at all. Up to date. The only way I'm going to sell here my kids when I'm dead. Even I try to tell them, the one I'm leaving, nobody can sell it. I leave it for them, for my grandkids. I have 3 kids in America. They never been in Sierra Leone. All grown, one married. But my will, anything I do here, it stays here. I used to sleep in hotels. I used to sleep in, I never slept in anybody's house when I'm coming here. But now they are not. That's why I try to put everything a man needs. Water, light, even microwave, solar. My light is 24 hours so that they don't come and say, oh, daddy, we come into struggle. They need everything inside. So I don't plan to sell it myself. Only if I pass away, they decide to do it, it's up to them. Don't call a friend, don't call a relative. They will lie to you. Call who knows about Jumbo Max. If you want to call me, I'm free, 24 hours. And my experience, when they send you the plan for what your computer, do it. Because they tell you where they start, where they're going, what they're doing. So nobody in Sierra Leone can do that. Because I have seen friends who send money here, they snap and send to them fake. But Jumbo Max don't fake. They tell you the truth. So I'm available. Or any other person. The only thing I don't know, I've been given the website to a lot of people in America. So they have them. And Jumbo Max will send you the information.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, my favorite video ever. Definitely one of my favorites. So of course that that property that Khalil is talking about is not in Ghana. and that design is not the Ghana design. So the Ghana design is specific to Ghana, and the offerings in Sierra Leone look different, just because the style in Ghana is different because Ghana requires something else. But I share that video, even though it's not about Ghana, because it speaks to universal issues that people in the diaspora face when they're trying to build a home back home. You know, what he just explained, his experience, what he knows, what friends have gone through in Sierra Leone. It's the same in Ghana. I've been in Ghana for 10 years, and I can tell you that I know sometimes people think that there's such a thing as like Ghanaian exceptionalism, where if you're not from Ghana and, you know, you see Ghana projected online, and we know Ghana PR is very strong. And so sometimes people get this perception or these notions that, oh, you know, Ghana is this place where it doesn't have all the other issues that a lot of African countries do. And the reality is truly, we share the same challenges. Friends who are Ghanaians who live in Ghana have issues buying land, have issues, people selling them property that already belongs to somebody. So this is like a consistent issue that all of us face. One of the things that I think for those of us who are in the diaspora, especially because you're not just next door, right? You can't just, so for example, in Sierra Leone, most people who are building, they go to their site every day to see their contractor, to see the progress every single day. If you're living in the diaspora, it is not possible for you to go to the construction site every single day. So the most important thing is that you have a trusted builder, someone who isn't going to cut corners, and someone who knows how to use the level so that the steps are actually straight. I know what I'm talking about. Whew, okay. So we're going to move to the Q&A section. And if you have any questions at all about starting your homeownership journey in Ghana, financing a home in Ghana, this is your time to ask that. Just type it into the chat and we will pop it up. I have Bob is still here. Keith is still here. Anna's still here. Basically, everybody's still here. Tinashe is still here. And if you have any questions at all, please pop them in the chat. And again, our goal here today is to really demystify. Is it demystify? Demystify? One of those. Make more clear what the journey to homeownership looks like and can be for people who are living in the diaspora, or, you know, people who are in Ghana or outside of Ghana who are interested in owning a home in Ghana. The offering here today specifically for Jobo Max's development within the larger Apollonia City project. And this model specifically, sorry, let me go back to it so that, yes. So we're talking about the Philadelphia duplex, which comes as a standard and as a lux, as either a 3-bedroom or a 4 bedrooms. And then basically the add-ons is what makes it lux, right? You have the different options that Tinashe was explaining earlier. If you have any questions, let me see if there's anything I had missed. I feel like
Vickie, I wanted to add something that you said a minute ago about how you know, different countries in West Africa deal with a lot of similar issues about you know, building homes. Mm-hmm. This is actually something, is the more people I talk to from around the world, it's an issue everywhere. I know people from Ecuador, from Mexico, from Hungary that are dealing with the same issues of trust and financing. Mm-hmm. Probably construction quality as well, but the two things that I relate to them on are trust and financing. So I'd like to gas up Jobo Max a little bit of that. We are very, very unique in our financing offer, that we do offer that in-house, and we are able to address one of the global issues of home building and home ownership. So I think we're very unique in that.
Sure. I've seen this question in two different formats, so I think we should address it. So Darnell is actually asking the same question. So before I popped Marlene's, I just saw his, which is it possible to buy land, not just lease, but own the land and house in Ghana? And then, which is a similar question to what Marlene's asking, which is, what are the lot sizes and is ownership forever? Does Ghanaian law allow for indefinite ownership, or is the land under long-term lease? Bob, do you want to respond to that?
Well, Anna may actually be able
to. Anna, do you want to say?
I will say that in general, you know, the land title situation in Ghana is quite different from what it is if you're in the U.S. and it's quite different from what it is in Guinea. In Guinea, people can buy land, hold title, freehold, in general, without any complications, as long as the title is clean. In Ghana, much of the transactions that happen are leasehold rather than freehold, but the terms of those leases, the tenure of those leases, access to that land can vary depending on where the land is, what your citizenship status is, and like I said, Anna can probably give more precise detail as it relates to where we are, but in general, it's just a very different titling system from what we're accustomed to here in the U.S.
So the land that we're selling is eligible for freehold. So you know, some land just isn't eligible for freehold at all. Ours is. There is still the same requirements that foreigners, I think, can only get a 50-year lease with the option to renew. But I will point out that we don't transfer the title until you're done with your financing. So if you are not Ghanaian but hope to be in the next 10 years, then we should be able to transfer freehold to you, you know, when you're done paying off your house. So it does really come back to like you know, citizenship requirements that the government has, but the land itself is eligible for freehold.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? I see one already answered, which was specifically about Sierra Leone. Understandably, you know, a lot of Sierra Leoneans on this call. And I don't see, let me just scroll up. I mean, I always say when there are not questions, it means we did like a thorough job. So kudos to us. We did thorough. We you know, we checked all the boxes on the call, which is fantastic. Okay, I don't see. Sorry, go ahead.
Vickie, I'd like to add something about the setup of the homes. Sure. So right now it's being offered in a 3 to 4 bedroom package. So we have 3 bedrooms upstairs. Now we have an option to convert a space downstairs into a bedroom if we have a, you know, maybe an elderly family or somebody that doesn't get up and down the steps well. We have that customization where we can add that 4th bedroom on the ground floor. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, cool. And Darnell wanted to know about solar panels to the house, and is there a requirement for solar panels?
I can answer that one. So we don't install solar panels. You certainly can engage with a solar panel company directly to install it. We do advise that even in our other countries, just so that the warranty is directly with the solar panel company if there's any issues. That being said, Apollonia City does offer, you know, like electrical connection. And I feel like it's partially run by like a solar system that they have, but also,
Sure. And I just want to add that the house that we were looking at that had the solar panels is in a community called Newton in Sierra Leone, which is currently off grid. So that person specifically, so Newton isn't yet connected to the, I'm going to call it the National Power Authority, but that's not what it's called anymore. It's called EDSA. They're not connected to the national grid in Sierra Leone. So if you want consistent electricity, it's either solar or generators. And so that's why they have solar on that property specifically. As someone who lives in Accra and I guess this is the time to talk about Dumsor, which is the lights on, lights off situation in Ghana. In the last decade, so I can compare Accra electricity situation in Accra and into the electricity situation in Freetown. And what I can say is that in Accra, I mean, speaking specifically for East Legon Hill, specifically where I live, because I don't know. Well, I've also lived in Osu, and I've also lived in Labani. And I've also lived in Ajingano. Sorry, I've lived in 4 different places in Accra. So overall, I would say that the electricity situation, even though Ghanaians probably don't want to hear this, it is still, comparing to like Sierra Leone, it's still very, very good. Even during the worst Dumsor, the electricity situation in Accra is much, much better than Sierra Leone. So for example, in our house, in all the houses I've lived in Accra, I've had like an inverter system installed. And I would say on the worst month, I've never gone 24 hours. In the last 3 or 4 years or 5 years, I haven't gone 24 hours without electricity in Ghana. If that happens, it's because there's a major fault, right? Like there's something else. Also with electricity, and the inverter does serve us. Usually the batteries are still good. You know, maybe it's on for like the most it will work maybe it's 12 hours in a day, but that maybe is like once a week or once every 2 weeks. And then also it ranges on the dry season and the rain season as well. So I just wanted to share that where Sierra Leone is with power generation and distribution is really, really far away from where Accra is. So yeah. Oh, Aisha's asking about Sierra Leone. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just want to jump in. There was a question about this, the style of these homes and whether we're only selling twins or do we have other models. And
yes,
I answered that in the chat, but it's what we have been permitted to build, and the Ghana regulatory system, interestingly, is more difficult to navigate than the permitting system in Guinea and Sierra Leone. So the permitting process inside Apollonia City and then with the government in Ghana is a fairly detailed process. And what we have the permit for is this twin style model in Apollonia City. You'll see a lot of twin style homes and row homes. And the reason people do that is because it's a way to provide more value to the buyer. You can get more living space for the same budget if you're prepared to do semi-detached construction like this. And so we think this is a great value for people who do want single-family, fully detached homes. You can look at our product catalog in Guinea. We have several different models that we do that are fully detached, both in Guinea and Sierra Leone. But for buying in Apollonia City, this is what we have the permit for. If you have land and you want to build on your own land in Ghana or somewhere else, that's a different conversation. You can sign up at the website and we'll talk you through that. So
great. And I think Aisha was asking about, so Aisha, because JoboMax operates in Ghana, Sierra Leone, and webinar, not webinar, in Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. So every month we basically do one webinar that is a country focused webinar. Last time we did the Sierra Leone, and previously we've done Guinea. So the next one will be Guinea, and then the one after that would be Sierra Leone. So as much as possible, and in each one of these, we bring people with local in-country expertise about the real estate and housing market, and then also we try to bring as many people as possible to really help you understand what it takes to get to webinar. Might as well be a country, I know, right? What it takes to achieve your homeownership dream. If there are no more questions, I will move on to our offer, which is available to. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bob and Keith and Anna and Tinashe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for answering all the questions. Now I'm gonna go all the way to what I think is a really great offer. So if you are joining us here today, the offer, I need to take that question off first. Right. Okay. If you're joining us here today and you start the process and you contact JoboMax after this call, as someone who attended this webinar, you will get $1,000 off your 30% down payment towards your first Jobo Max home. This is, of course, after you'd have filled out the application and gotten approved. Someone's asking if I can see the questions. Yes, I can see the questions, Cuddy. So if you still have one question, you can go ahead and ask that. Oh, Darnell has a question about real estate taxes, property taxes. Does anybody have any, Keith, do you know anything about that, or Anna? Who wants to take this one? No? Okay. I don't have that available. Unfortunately, we don't have that, but I'm sure Anna will get it for you if you reach out to her. She's, like I said, she will get that information for you. So if you reach out to her after this call. So if thank you so much for joining us. I mean, there are over 200 people watching right now, which is quite amazing. I really appreciate that. You know, it's a long webinar. Again, someone asked, oh, Sienna asked, is there an option for 2 to 3 bedroom apartments, or is it just 3 to 4 bed homes? Does anyone want to take that really quickly before we? Oh, this is a separate question, but you can. I'll have it. So this one is about being able to make slight changes to homes, such as handicap accessibility and specific cabinet colors.
Yeah. So to cabinet colors, yes, we can definitely give you some choices. Sometimes we can be limited on, you know, what's currently available, but we can certainly give you a choice with what is available. For this house, because it is like a 2-story house, there are we are kind of limited with the handicap accessibility that we can offer in this model. We hope in the next couple years that we're bringing in some of our other models into Ghana, some single-story houses that are certainly more adaptable. If you are looking in one of our other markets, those models are currently available, so we could offer that for you there.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, so if you, at the end of this call, you contact Jobo Max, you go through the application process and you get approved. When it's time for you to make your 30% down payment, you will get a $1,000. You will get a $1,000 discount towards your first home. So best ways to contact Jobo Max. I know a lot of us here are WhatsApp people, so you can contact Jobo Max on WhatsApp. I'm sorry. I heard that you lost me on audio. I apologize. No, I'm still here, you guys. I'm sorry. I usually forget that if you take yourself off camera that you lose sound. I'm still here. Darnell, thank you so much for feeling the pang of like, oh, Vickie's gone. I appreciate the love, bro. So yeah, if you are interested in, my advice to you is, if you know that in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, you want to be able to, I'm not going to say like, again, I did a video last week, which is about like, oh, this was specifically for the US people. If a Trump 2.0 scares you, if a Trump 2.0 scares you, you know, it's time to go back to Africa. And I was just really trying to say that realistically, I do not want to propagate the notion that any African country is some dream destination without any problems or any issues or any concerns. Sierra Leone certainly isn't that. Ghana and Guinea certainly are not that. However, for me, speaking from my personal experience, what does make this African diaspora living or life a lot more manageable on both ends of the continent is the ability to be able to move between continents when and how I please. I have my plants in Sierra Leone. I have other plants in Ghana, and that makes my life rich. And so if you are thinking of starting your homeownership journey, everybody here on this call is here to help. Like I said, Anna is a wealth of information. Bob, Tinashe is also there. She's usually the person that you'd be speaking to with customer service. And Anna is the person who would get you through kind of like the finance, the application process. So thank you so much for joining us. Please head to jobomax.com, sign up for the newsletter. And whenever you see me saying I'm doing another webinar about housing finance and building your dream home, register so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great weekend. And for those of us on this side of the continent, you know, happy holidays for, you know, we're going into the holiday season. Thanksgiving is next week. Thank you so much. Bye.